This episode of The Bold Take is also brought to you by the very wavy, as Cap is demonstrating right now, the very wavy, the very creative New Era Marketing. That's not the hat company. It's the marketing company, NUERA Marketing. Check out their website. Their website is like a perfect advertisement for themselves because their website is incredible. And what they do partially is build websites. So hit up their website. It's neweramarketing.com. It has this really crazy like homepage, landing page right now where you can like spin around. Dillard, if you went to it right now, your mind would be blown. It's like colors and rainbows and stuff kind of. But they have a page on there that kind of goes into what they do, creative, social, digital, web. But you can tell by this stuff, they do fancy websites, man. Some of their clients, Pratt guys, City of Jacksonville, Modern Climate Control. And they're also a local company, which is really cool. That's something that we always try to support. So we appreciate them. But I'm pretty sure every creative and marketing professional in town uses them. Have you guys heard any other ones?
Like every single one? That would be impressive.
That's what I'm seeing.
I do know that like if you have a company out there, which many of you listening do, and everybody needs help in today's day and age with getting your brand recognized, being able to cut through the noise and find your customers, right? And that's what New Era Marketing really specializes in, the brand development. And then I don't think any company is too small, right? Like if you have needs on that marketing end, reach out to them. They'll sit down with you. That's the beauty of having a local company that's a smaller shop, that can give you that one-on-one attention. And that's what they're really about over there. It's a bunch of good dudes and gals. And they're hardcore Jaguar fans as well. So big supporters of ours. We're big supporters of theirs. If we ever join the current century, maybe we'll have our own website for the podcast. And I know one thing, the only people I'm calling is them, because me, Dilla, and Solley, we can't make any damn web pages.
Facts. Again, New Era Marketing. It's NUERA marketing.com. Again, website speaks for itself. Visit it, hit it.
All right. Well, welcome back. This is the first edition of the Bold Take Pod for the official 2022 season, episode 1, series 4.
Welcome to Doug Peterson to Duval. Wait, did we do that already?
I don't know. We've got a lot. It's been a while. I think we're going to be a little rusty here, to be fair.
It has gone down.
Yeah, lots has happened. Can't say that we've hit on 100% of our predictions since we last spoke, or that we even know exactly where we're going to go with this pod. But we figured the time is as good as any. The draft is upon us, and frankly, we missed all of you out there, all of the loyal Bold Take listeners. So here we are, gentlemen. It's good to see you again.
Cap, love you, bud.
Love you too, man.
I miss Brad though.
I know Brad, Mrs. Cap put Brad somewhere. I have to find him.
She's jealous.
It's kind of, I think maybe it's a game for like where's Brad? I just have to go find him. Where's Brad?
She's jealous of your love deep down inside that you have for Brad.
I don't know if jealous is the right word, but she's, maybe skeptical, maybe cautiously, a little worried.
A little worried, yeah.
Yeah, slightly worried. But I told her it's fine. He's in Iowa, and I never plan on going there, so she's safe. Dilla, how are you, bub?
I'm good, guys. How are you, Cap? I haven't seen you since the last time we podcasted, I think.
Yeah, maybe not officially. We've spoken here and there, but
I've spoken to you.
Yeah, I'm good.
I've seen Solley a few times.
Life is good. Can't complain. Very busy. Looking forward to draft night, night 1 over here at the Casa de Cap, hosting some of the homies. So, can't be much.
Catch me in the pool.
Can't be much worse than Urban Meyer being involved in a draft, right? I mean, so we should be good.
We've been there, done that.
Knock
You
on
guys
wood.
act like we didn't get Trevor Lawrence from the Urban Meyer draft. Jesus, that guy's an icon. Because if you're not going to give him the credit, you're going to give it to Trent Baalke. So you got to pick one.
No, I give none of them the credit. Dave Caldwell gives and Doug Marone get the credit for the tank. That's who gets
Doug, yes. I
Hey,
like
Trent Baalke was a part of that team too. I'm just saying.
Big Doug guy right there. Solley
Doug
Carlaftis.
has his pulse on tanking. There's no doubt about it.
All right, so we're gonna shoot the shit for because I'm sure everybody out there missed us. We're gonna shoot the shit a little bit. We're gonna get some jokes off, give everybody a little updates on what we're doing in our lives. But we're also gonna obviously dig into the draft. We're gonna get a little bit of insight from the big Dilla, see what the latest whispers are out there in the in the world of NFL insiders. And maybe get into a little Solley mock, Solley predictions. And I'm going to give my all important cap draft facts and opinions. So I think that should really cover most of us here for the episode. Hopefully we're going to come back after the draft and recap.
Smiles.
Yeah, with smiles. Hopefully we'll be happy. Although I've learned usually when I'm happy, it leads to me being pretty upset by the time the season comes or ends. So
Me too.
maybe if I'm really pissed off and I hate everybody we draft, maybe they'll be good this time. So that's how I like to look at things at this point. But so we'll get into it, but hopefully we'll come back with a recap episode. Have plans to get some of the people from draft Twitter or just the draft universe out there to come on and talk about the prospects. Cause I know one thing is inevitable. We're going to, with 12 picks, right? We still have 12 picks. Yeah. With like 37 picks that we have. If we use even most of them, it's inevitable that we're going to end up with 3 or 4 guys drafted that none of us saw coming, at least. Right. So the hope is to get somebody out there who does this shit for a living and who can at least really, really pretend whether or not those are good picks. They'll sell us on it and we'll get them on to talk with us. We've got a few ideas of who that might be, but so stay tuned for that. But fellas, without further ado, Dilla, the people want to know, right? Let's be real here.
Let's be real. Hit me with what you really want to know.
Okay. Well, I'll preface it with this. In our esteemed producer, in case you folks forgot, we're big time now. We have a producer, our pal Carlos, or as I call him, Carlito. Our pal Carlos is like, look, I don't think you guys should bring any draft experts on. Let's be real here. Everybody wants to know what the fuck Dilla has to say, right? Like they see the breadcrumbs, right? The Dilla-Stottle's giving them the breadcrumbs on the Twitter machine. He's just sprinkling the little breadcrumbs of knowledge. They're going to be tuning in. If they tune into your podcast during draft week, the day before the draft, they're going to want to know what nuggets is Dilla dropping. So Dilla, enough with the breadcrumbs. Give us some nugs.
Let's give us some nugs. So let's start at 33. I think that's more interesting now.
We're going to work.
Let's talk about what people really want to know. Everyone's interested in, are they going to get a receiver? Are they going to pick Quay Walker, which I talked about, a little bit ago? They really like Quay Walker. Now the buzz in the draft is Quay Walker goes towards the end of the first round. If they like him as much as they say they like him, instead of the receiver that everybody's talked about trading up for, do the Jaguars trade up for a linebacker, off-ball linebacker?
I got to be honest with you here. I'm a little thrown off. I didn't realize you were going to jump all the way to 33. I mean, it's a pleasant surprise.
Let's talk about it.
So are we going to come back? I just need to know. Are we going to come back?
Oh yeah, we're absolutely going to come back.
You're just mind fucking the people. They're tuning. I like this though. You're going to make them listen longer into the podcast. That's good. That's smart. That's why you're the star of the show here. 33, Quay Walker, linebacker. I personally think, I saw Shipley said this as well, and I think you commented on it. I think if they're going, over the last 3 months, 4 months, people have talked about, I think pretty much everybody has said, I'd love for them to trade back from 1, right?
All right.
The chances of that happening, not great, probably, right? So 33, I think the chances are higher there. I personally would love for them to trade back, not trade up.
So you want to trade back from 33 and get more, or you want to trade back from 1? Because I think everyone knows they would prefer not to pick at 1.
Yeah, I think everyone would prefer not to pick at 1. That's kind of
no, for sure. But that's not like a secret at this point. We've known for a long time that the Jaguars don't want to pick at 1. So they're almost pigeonholed too. So let's fuck it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about pick number 1. So it's 9:37 p.m. Tuesday. The top 3 guys in the draft that have been projected to go to the Jaguars: Aiden Hutchinson, Michigan, Icky out of North Carolina State, and Trevon Walker out of Georgia. All 3 of them and their agents have no idea who's being picked number 1.
Boom.
No one has any idea. So that's why you're seeing so many varying opinions. And it's almost like you're watching CNN or Fox right now, like by the hour, shit changes because no one has any idea. It's literally all off crumbles. It's going to be one of those 3 guys at 1. Obviously.
So tell me this. I mean, let's hash this out just from like a hypothetical situation. What's the benefit of no one knowing right now if you're the Jaguars?
I honestly think it's just Trent Baalke playing like a power card that no one actually, like, it doesn't actually give him a benefit, but he thinks like, you know what I'm saying? It's just a Trent Baalke thing. It's an ego thing because there really is no advantage unless you attack it from the, well, maybe they can, pull a trade off and drop back a slot or 2, because if you can get to 3 or 4, you might be able to get someone that you didn't think you could get. But other than that, it doesn't make any sense. No one wants to move up. They've said that for weeks now, and here we are a couple of days before the draft. The team at 1 doesn't even really want to pick at 1. The team at 2s doesn't care who gets picked at 1 because they're just going to take the other option if it's the edge guys that they're talking about. And then when you get to 3, you got the Texans who have more than 1 pick, so they can do whatever the fuck they want.
I think it says a lot about, which we've all kind of already hypothesized and we already know about, right? In the sense that this is not a very strong draft at the top, at least at 1, 2, right? Like there's no 1 or 2 guys that are like consensus. Yeah, that's definitely happening. But it also is, as a fan, I sit here and I'm like, okay, maybe they secretly know who they're going with. Right. And so the benefit of the doubt there is, okay, they really know, but they're holding out to the last minute to see if they can swing something that would be beneficial on a trade. But
sure.
I just, as a fan of this team, of this organization, I have a hard time believing, or actually, let me put it this way. If you told me that they still don't know internally who they're picking, I would believe you. And that troubles me.
I believe that they know who they're taking. But I also know that the people who do know, it's very minimal. It might legitimately be head coach, GM, and owner that actually know. There's vibes coming out because they're obviously in meetings every day. You guys saw they were at the stadium practicing today. So there's communication. The players are talking. Two of the players are on record now for saying that they want Walker out of Georgia at 1 overall.
What the fuck does Christian Kirk know about? Like,
no, he doesn't know anything, and that's not my point. My point is, like, literally, if they're asking the players and the players are talking about it and have an opinion, like, shit's being talked about in the stadium.
I get I got exactly what you're saying from that's not where I was going with that. It was more of like, shut the fuck up, Christian Kirk. Like, I mean, what are you, a draft nick? Like,
no, but she asked him the question. What the fuck's he supposed to say?
Say, I don't know. I want a good player.
Players know who's the scary looking dudes when they watch like the playoff and shit.
Or they've heard all the coaches saying the same goddamn name, so they're just repeating it.
Well, that kind of goes against your whole theory of only 3 guys know, though.
No, only no, but still, like, I think it's going to be one of the edge guys. I don't think it's going to be Icky Nacho or whatever. No, that's a striker for Leicester. I don't think it's going to be Icky from North Carolina State. Because here's something that's interesting. So I had a while ago. What are you thumbs down him for?
I'm Team Icky.
Oh, right on. I thought you were like couldn't hear me or something. No, I thought a while ago I had said that Doug Peterson was Team Icky. Baalke had jumped on Walker, and that Shad Khan was on Hutch, and that came out recently too. And when I had heard that, I heard that Shad Khan was leaning towards a player who has superstar potential in the eyes of the NFL. You're not going to get, it doesn't matter how good Icky is, he's not going to be a star in the league. Just like Quentin Nelson, for as good as he is, how many like NFL commercials are you seeing him on? So I think that it's kind of an interesting aspect because the owner wants a player who's going to maximize his dollar value. So he knows he has to hit on a player who has that capability. And it's like an interesting way of looking at it, because we're making the jokes about Shad Khan grinding film, but he's not doing that. Like, who actually thinks that guy's watching film? You know what I mean?
No one thinks that, nor does anyone believe it. And frankly, like, I don't give a fuck about the guy's marketability or any of that.
But no, again, I'm just saying, like, you're looking at it from a different point. Like, if the player's as good as your guard, no matter how good the guard is, he's not making you money. If the edge guys are good, he's making you money. So if you, bro, I'm just telling you what I heard in the fucking report, dude. I don't know, man. I'm sorry that you're so disgusted by it, but I'm just trying to tell you.
It's not well, I mean, you're offering up a point, and I'm just offering commentary on it. So
sounds like you're just like, nah, fuck you, that's stupid, that doesn't make any sense.
Well, I'm not you personally.
I'm just saying that's what
that's
like
how you're fucking idiot. Yeah,
well, yeah, but I think it makes sense. I think it's cool.
Well, sure, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, he drafted Trevor for the same fucking reason, and you and I combined to have the same amount of touchdowns as Trevor last year. So I'm frankly, like, I could care less about how marketable they are or any of that shit. Just get good players. Like, get a guy who's going to actually be on the roster for more. But
you actually want him to draft a guard at 1 overall? That's insane. Why the fuck would we do that? That's stupid.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe just actually have a good offensive line, and you
can get a good player in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th round.
Sure, absolutely. I would draft 2. I'd draft him, and then you're protected. If he is the stud you think he is, he slides out to left tackle next year, or right tackle, whatever you do with Cam. And then I'd draft another fucking interior guy too in rounds 2 through 5 somewhere. Absolutely.
I think it's just funny too. Like, I just thought about it now talking about it. The better offensive linemen we've had recently have been later round picks. Even if they were free agents that we got, they were either like Parnell was a later round pick. And obviously Linder, 3rd round pick. It's later in the draft, but not my fault. It seemed like you're like, well, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
No, it's more of just like, if that's playing into it, like the marketable, like, get the best player, dude.
And again, who knows if Shad's pulling the, like, it's my way or the highway. I doubt he is. He thinks Trent Baalke walks on water. Like,
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. My whole attitude towards this draft, unfortunately, is just like, I find it like I'm into it now more than I was a month ago, just because I like this shit. And
I agree.
We do have so many picks, and we are picking high in every round. Like, so, and I actually think we can get into that in a minute, but I actually like some of the depth of the draft and like what people are projecting, like rounds 2 through 4. Like, I think there's some legitimate good players to be had. So I'm into it, but I'm also like cautiously just like, fuck, man, I don't trust this team to do anything right until they do. Like, that's the reality.
And I agree with that fully.
So, it's unfortunately, I have this feeling in my stomach that, like, if we take Walker at 1, then Hutchinson will be a stud. If we take Hutchinson at 1, then, the 3 guys after him will be studs. Like, it's just, and call that just being shell shocked or because Jaguars hashtag or whatever.
Jaguar fans.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate feeling with it. And it does suck. It sucks. I wish we had the number 1 pick. I wish your boy Anderson could come out this year, and then it's a fucking no brainer.
Yeah, I wish we could give up this 1st round pick and like the next 3 to draft someone a year ahead or something like that. I
saw your boy. Was it Clay 07 or whatever on Twitter? Yeah. Shout out to him. He's a solid follow. He knows his shit. But I saw one of his mocks that he did that he actually, when he traded back from 1, he basically just swapped picks and then got like a 2nd or a 3rd or something, but then took that team's 1 for next year with that idea.
Ammo.
Yeah. So like, but dude,
that's actually kind of sick.
It's really sick. But then I thought about it, and there really isn't a single team that could be drafting one next year that wouldn't take him.
For sure.
Like,
The way he dominated last year, man, he's like absolutely unblockable. And then in this, they played their like spring game. He's bigger this year and just as fast. Like,
well, and from a positional standpoint, right? Like he's a guy who fits any defensive scheme. And it's not like you're a team. Sometimes teams who get the number 1 overall pick are like, you know what? I don't need a QB because I already got my guy. Our team just sucks around him. So I'll trade out because I don't need this top tier QB that everybody wants. Well, in this case, like, it doesn't matter if you got Joey Bosa on the other side, you're taking dude. You know what I mean?
For sure. No, you're right, dude.
So, yeah, I guess that's kind of flawed in that sense. If you had to guess right now, because that's what people are really going to be wondering, like you said, now it's 9:47 on Tuesday night. Yeah. Who's the wisp? You know, who are you hearing?
It changes by like literally that. If you would have asked me before lunch, I would have said Hutch. If you ask me now, I think it's Walker. I genuinely think it's Walker because that's who the defensive coaches want. Like the majority of the defensive coaches want him. So in the way I look at it, if the general manager wants him, the defensive coaches want him, and they think he's the guy who's going to propel him. And then we're hearing that the players are saying his
Christian
name
Kirk wants him. That's what I was about to say. Let's go. Christian Kirk runs the team, bitch.
I don't know. I think I've talked myself into what Walker could be. Because I think last week, if you would have asked me too, I wanted Hutch. And now I think I want Walker. But I think that's because, as we said earlier, I don't actually care. Like, I don't really care. So I'm like so easily swayed. But that's how the news is reading too. Like it, and Tony Pauline, who he's like he's a mock draft rumor guy, like the draft is his lane. A little bit ago, he said that he's going to put Icky at 1 overall. And that's the one. If it's him, that'll be my genuine surprise. I will genuinely be surprised if it's him because he hasn't had any buzz since the combine. And at the combine, I said, if you're into betting, he's the one that everyone's talking about. And then after they came back from the combine, it all kind of rolled into Hutch. And then 10 days ago, it became a Walker story. So if you look at that timeline, it doesn't make any sense. And here we are 2 days before, and the parties involved don't even know. So I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think many people were talking to Trent Baalke and Shad Khan at the combine. So I think a lot of that Icky stuff was probably all Doug, right? I mean, Trent and Shad are like, nobody fucking talks to them.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point too, Solley. Like that, as now we know that that's who he wants. If he's the one who's got he's the one
everybody in the league knows, and
right, for sure. And so that should make sense. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we shouldn't listen to him. Of those 3 people in the room, Shad, Doug, exactly. and Trent. I mean, I'm going with the other 2 guys and their opinions about football all day.
The 2 weirdos that aren't talking to anybody, they're going to be the ones that make the pick. I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like, no offense to Doug, but he hasn't done shit compared to those guys. Like, what the fuck?
It is funny though, because like that's been the whole thing since Doug's been hired. I mean, it's Trent. Like when you look at how the hierarchy of the team works and the way they answer questions, and they had asked him, I think, if you get to the combine, it's funny, or excuse me, you get to the draft and you guys don't agree on the same player, who has say? And Doug Peterson responded with, it'll be a player that the Jacksonville Jaguars fell in love with, or something like that. You know what I mean? Which essentially he wouldn't say me. He didn't, like, nowhere close to me. So it just seemed like it was the most, from that point on, it's all been like Trent to me.
It's like the fucking Twilight Zone. I mean, it really is the Trent light zone. Yeah, to me, that's the part that sucks the most about this is like, I think last year there was an element, right, of genuine excitement. We knew we were getting Trevor. Most of us had talked ourselves into Urban one way or another, like as being an exciting addition.
Just like this draft pick, whoever they pick, I'm going to pretend like he's going to be the best player ever.
Oh, of course. I mean, fucking Trevon Walker is the next Lawrence Phillips. If we,
Dude,
or
I'm gonna be
Lawrence
like, bro,
Taylor,
that guy
Lawrence
played-
Phillips. He's the next Lawrence Phillips. Oh, geez. Lawrence Taylor, if we take him. Although before we move on to some of these other picks and guys that we like and everything like that, Dilla, you say you're kind of talking to yourself into what he could be. In your opinion, what is that? Because I don't like, that's where I'm just, that's where the disconnect is for me, because I'm not seeing what that value is potentially with him.
So I think he's going to be able to play a hand down in the dirt in like 3-4 and be able to like rush the passer and cause problems from there, just from the power standpoint, and be very good against the run. And I think he has the ability to stand up and play outside. So if they can teach him a move. Now, I don't know shit about pass rush. I'd be like, yeah, he's got a good move. If I watched it, I have no idea what the name's called. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm some pro. But I think when you got a player coming out of that defense too, a defense that was like so heavily schemed, you know what I'm saying? Like he came from wide a lot, or he spun it through.
That's kind of what worries me, is that it was so heavily schemed, and that the things he was asked to do aren't necessarily the things that I think of what I want a guy to do if I'm taking him 1 overall as an edge.
So, and then here, this is my like only real rebuttal to that is if you look at how he wins from all over the line, because when he was younger, he played a little bit more inside too. Like now he has a lot of like where his pass rush comes from is he lines up outside and he stunts inside.
Right.
And then earlier he was like playing down line almost. And did you see the one play I retweeted today from like 2019? He's playing like one technique and he loops all the way around and sacks the quarterback in less than 3 seconds. So I think if you're like going to look at it from the positive side, he flashes so much. They're all flashes. I agree. When you watch his tape, it's kind of boring. He doesn't win that much one-on-one in pass rush, but he has flashes that are really fun, and he's disgusting against the run though. So you're gonna get instant impact year 1. Like he's nasty against the run.
Fantastic.
Dude, you want a guard, so you got to at least.
No, I
You want a guard and you want a run stuffer. You guys are really
I want to.
I saw the Michael Bennett comp today, and I kind of like it. But if he's only as good as Michael Bennett is, I don't like to pick. So, you know what I mean? So, like, I don't know.
What was he, a 6th rounder?
I mean, he played way better than that, but yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen like the player profile like comparisons for Hutch though? It's like one good player. I think it's Javon Curse and a bunch of bums, and then for Walker, it's like 4 of the 5 are just like disgusting pass rushers.
And I get that. I just,
and that's just an athletic profile. That doesn't.
It's an athletic, which they're both. I mean, to be fair, they both like really like their athletic profiles are pretty good overall.
They're both top 20 ever.
Yeah,
since like 1985 or something.
And so I guess that's if you're looking for some, some positive spin on it. Like you're looking at 2 freak athletes from a measurable perspective. But for me, I mean, the very first thing you said when kind of not really pitching, because I know you don't care one way or the other, but just kind of giving a case for why you've come around to it a little bit. The very first thing you said is like, you think he's initially going to line up in that 3-4 with his hand in the dirt.
I think they would be stupid. I mean, if they lined him up outside, it would be on like run expected plays where they have like smoot play in there. You know what I mean? Like they'd situationally play him outside, right. But I do like, if you're saying, I think his value comes from stopping the run 100% as a young player.
So the thing there that kind of, I don't know, perplex isn't the right word, but where my mind immediately goes is, has there ever been a guy taken 1 overall that is playing hand down as in a 3-4, like in an odd front? Has there ever been a guy taken 1 overall? What was Courtney like? What was he? Is he 4-3?
I don't know. Honestly, it's someone I think they might have just asked in my mentions today, but like, has there been this underdeveloped of a player who we don't really necessarily know what position he's going to play, go 1 overall? So it kind of falls in line with what you're asking. And I don't know. I think the questions are legitimate. I think too, though, like here, let me ask you this. Would you rather a good season of run defense and 4 sacks from Walker, or would you rather terrible run defense and 7.5 sacks from Hutch?
7.5 sacks, because that would be
Yeah.
like a Jaguar record.
Option A.
You would go Walker, Solley? Yeah, I think so too. Like overall, if we're like setting the edge and he's like making plays in the backfield and flashing, now that's the problem too. Do you get, and I don't want to compare them as players, but Taven Bryan, his flashes in college, we never saw them. Like literally we saw him 2 games at the end of his 3rd and 4th season.
Mhm.
So if you're like running into a situation like that where there's just no flashes, I mean, I would write it off early, like I wrote Chase on off early. If he sucks, he sucks. I'm not going to sit here and hope no more. And with a player, no. I just was saying, with a player like him who you have to develop, if it's not happening where we can see it rapidly, like even Trevor was like up, plateau because the team sucked and then it fell apart. If we can't see that, I'm going to be like, yeah, he's a bum. Real quick.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the part with Walker that I just can't bring myself fully around to is there's a really good chance that he could be a very solid pro.
Yeah.
And never really impact the game from a statistic standpoint. And that's fine. I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, if he's just that, if he's a dude who signs a couple contracts here and is a solid player who's a really versatile piece of what we hope is a building and a decent defense,
yeah,
that's like a top 10 first round Jaguars pick ever, right? Like, I mean, that's like one of our best ever picks, but that's not what we measure it on. I think of, if you're taking a dude number 1 overall who plays defense, he's either he's impacting the quarterback often.
Yeah.
He's a guy who's a terror on the edge. Like that's what I think of as a dude. And I don't know if Hutchinson is that.
Is there that?
What's that?
So is there that guy? Is that guy in this draft? That's the question.
So Charles McDonald, friend of the pod, he compared Trayvon Walker like productivity and the way he thinks he's going to be successful in the NFL to Tyson Alualu today. And
what
it wasn't
Cap just said is basically Tyson Alualu.
Exactly. And that's why I brought it up, because that's literally Tyson Alualu. And people were like, there's no way they're not similar players at all. And he's like, well, no shit, that's not what I'm saying. Like, he's a dude who's got like a 10 or 12 year NFL career and he's been good the whole time. And he had a nasty knee injury early that like killed a lot of like how he was successful in college. So to be in the league at this point, and like 2 years ago, he's putting up like PFF metric, like top 1, 2, interior nose tackle. Like if we got that and he signed all those contracts with the Jaguars and say homie doesn't, like we would be thrilled.
But it's in context, right?
No, you're totally right.
Because we're Jaguar fans.
We're the Jaguar fans, right? Yeah. Because that's the thing. Like you said a second ago, we take him. Hutch goes to the Lions. He's a 10, 12 sack guy from year 3 to year 7, and we're like, man, this sucks because Josh Allen, we didn't give him a new deal, and now he plays for the Titans with Simmons, and they got fucking 12, 15 sacks a year because that's how it works.
And we gave Chase on a bunch of money.
Yeah, because he learned how to play Sam linebacker.
I think he
plays in London.
If you put a gun to my head, you said you got to choose between these two guys and you got to give your case as to why.
Yeah.
I think I take Hutch just because if he really succeeds and is a solid player, then we're getting production off the edge.
Facts.
Which we haven't really had consistently other than in 2017, right? Like in the last 20 years, we haven't had consistently other than in 2017. So if I'm taking a little bit of a risk or a gamble or I'm rolling the dice, that's the direction I feel like I go. Now, counter to all of that is I probably, if I'm making the pick and I'm the GM, I'm probably taking Icky or Neal for that exact reason. Because if I'm just going safe, let me go safe on the side of the ball that protects my franchise quarterback.
For sure.
Like that's my perspective on it. I guess.
And that's the thing too, though, Cap. If we run it all the way back, like we're the one, making this pick, I'm also not giving Cam Robinson a franchise tag. And it makes this first pick very easy. It's one of the 2 tackles. and I'm super happy either way. And I probably pick a sick player at 33, and the vibes are just fucking good rolling in. But instead, we tag the dude who fucking is mediocre at best. We're gonna give him a new deal. I saw the guaranteed money was gonna be like 45-ish a couple days ago. 4 years, 45 guaranteed, I think. Yeah, I think I can't remember. The total was either like mid 80s or low 80s. I don't remember. And that was a couple days ago. But they're talking. It sounds like it's gonna get done soon, and that's gonna save cap. But again, like, why? Why are they doing that? They could have got better in free agency at the position. They could have got better in the draft at the position, because you have hopefully a decent tackle in Walker Little, and you spent a top 45 pick on him last year. The same GM that's running this team was a part of that. So whether it was Urban Meyer or not, he's still going to get the blame for it. And if you look at the Jaguars, they got 3 second-round tackles on their team, and they all stink because we don't know what Walker Little is because they're afraid to play him. Jawan Taylor, he's playing Dance Dance Revolution out there at right tackle like a second before every snap. Exactly. And Cam Robinson plays 13 games a year, and he's only good for 10 of them.
Fair. If you're planning ahead and you're making Boz part of that plan, he'll be there. Doesn't matter where you are.
Yeah.
He'll be there. Just plan ahead. So commit his number to memory and plan ahead. Don't be like Antonio Brown. Don't be left standing outside in your goofy boots and your skinny jeans, looking like a peasant, waiting for somebody to pick you up outside in New Jersey, of all places. You can't look like that in New Jersey. Boz wouldn't let you look like that in New Jersey.
Could you imagine walking out of your job and a black tinted window like Suburban pulls up and just picks you up, and you just roll away looking like the president?
And so take a page out of Trevor Lawrence's book. After he, got done listening to our last episode, he called Boz and hooked up his lady, sent Marissa down with all her homies to the stadium in a huge party bus. So shout out to Boz.
Yeah. All right. Moral of the story: call Boz. Solley, what's the number?
904-887-0763. Or if you're a Jack's Twitter person, Jack's Boz, at Jack's Boz. Hop in his DMs.
Okay. Moral of the story: if he's good enough for Trevor Lawrence's lady, he's damn sure good enough for you. Call Boz. So, not to just completely deviate for the good little rant and the points you were making there, because they were really solid, but you brought up
Neal.
What's that?
Evan Neal, Cam Robinson.
Cam Newton. I love Cam Newton. No, you brought up my man Jawan.
Yeah, man.
Jawan. And we'd all be remiss if we didn't point out like Jawan's beard twin, who has joined us on this podcast, and that's Stephen Soliday. A shout out to my man with not only the Jawan lookalike on the beard, but also just like,
sheesh. You're looking like my pubes, my guy.
It may not be connecting yet,
yeah,
Solley, but
you're like there, but clean where you need to be.
But that's the most solid beard. Like, I just got to offer up some props to my man, right? Because that's what we're about here. We're about showing love. We're about propping each other up, not tearing each other down. And Solley, that's the best beard you've had ever. I mean, it's come in a little bit, and I'm proud of you.
I even faded it up here myself.
Oh, you did that yourself? Turn. That's really good.
I think that's playing too. That's playing. That's look, hey, bub, you've been working at it for a while, and I'd be lying if I said, if you said to me and Dilla, hey, you gotta put some money on, will Solley ever not be fully patchy on the sides there? I think both Dilla and I would have been like, no, it ain't happening for our boy.
Yeah.
Like,
no, it's dope. It doesn't connect, but it fits. It looks like you do that on purpose, and it looks dope.
Yeah.
And that's the way I look at it. If you don't do nothing to your beard and it looks on purpose, you're golden.
Well,
Cash said she wanted me to grow it, so I grew it. Honestly.
Yeah. And it's way better than last time you grew it out. It was like patched up still throughout.
Yeah. I've been working on it for a long time. It's taken a while.
You got some stuff going. I remember when
I've been trimming it, and
Yeah.
Working with it.
Yeah, I heard they were trying to trade Juwan Taylor too.
Yeah. Well,
Not to anyone, I don't know who.
like you
just
said, they have
to-
to the
Also.
USFL.
Nah, he wouldn't be good enough for that. They call that a false start.
You could probably get like my beard in return for him.
Yeah, I heard they were trying to move him when I heard Linder was going to retire.
Well, let's talk about round 2 really quick because we kind of got into it, and then we went back to round 1.
Can I pause you 1 second?
Absolutely, maybe 2 even.
Rumor is that Hutchinson wants to come to Jacksonville and doesn't want to go to Detroit. Does that Cap was already pro Hutch, so does that make you feel a certain type of way? If Walker, besides the fact that, like, of course he wants to go to the Jaguars, it's the first overall pick, his favorite spot was the Texans of the top. Does that kind of change? I mean, like I said, Cap was already on the Hutch bandwagon, but I think it's interesting that a player wants to come to Jacksonville. I know he's like from fucking Michigan and like we have a beach and stuff. So like who can blame him? But I don't know. I think it's cool that like someone wants to be for the Jaguars, but I don't know if it's easy to know with with Walker because he prefers a different team that's not the Jaguars. Whereas they're saying that this dude prefers the Jaguars, which who doesn't? It doesn't matter. Like whoever gets picked like 14th wants to go to the Jaguars too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I mean, I'm sure there's an element of that he wants to be picked first, right? And I know that's kind of what you're saying. For me, I know I absolutely took a massive dump all over part of the point you were trying to make earlier about Shad and sort of like him recognizing that one of these guys is going to be hella marketable if he's good and the other one probably not, right? Like I shat all over that mainly because it's Shad.
Fair.
Right. But because I don't want that necessarily going to the pick, but into the philosophy behind the pick. But as a fan who sits there relatively objectively, emphasis on relatively, I sit there and I say, man, the type of thing that happens for other franchises and for other fan bases that are much more fortunate than us, the type of thing that happens for them is they get their kind of back-to-back years where they get some cornerstone players. And I follow your train of thought there, Dilla, in the sense that if Trevor ends up being what we all hope he's still going to end up being, and you hit on a dude who just got a big personality, who will be hella marketable, who plays that premium position.
Is he like the defensive Trevor?
There's some elements of that there for sure. And so like the prospect of getting that in back-to-back seasons, again, rewind. I know it's not very likely for us because we're just not allowed to have nice things, but like, I understand the allure of that. And that like would be phenomenal.
Cap and Shad Khan are just right there on this.
You tell me the guy wants to come here. He'd be fired up about coming here. I think he could bring the type of presence. Now he's got to back it up with his play. He's got to be a bad motherfucker the moment he walks on that field in minicamp. But he has the type of personality that I think if he is good, guys would respond to him kind of how they've responded to Trevor.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Whereas I think Walker's going to be that dude who goes out there and everybody on the team knows, hey, this dude's a dude, but you're not necessarily going to get the flamboyant production. Because let's be real, dude, the time that defensive players get the FaceTime on the TV, on the screen during the game, get to do their dances, they ain't getting it for stuff in the run. I mean, every 3 or 4 run stuffs, maybe they're getting one, but like,
I mean, how many times did you see Tavin Bryan do his little fire celebration?
3 in 5 years.
It was just a campfire. That's all. Just a campfire.
Oh man. So I don't know. I asked the question and no one. I wanted to get Nate Tice on. Maybe we'll still get him on afterwards. I haven't seen very many comps for Hutchinson. Like I know people did comps based off of his spark scores and his measurables and shit, but like the type of player like that he's going to bring, like And I asked this question on Twitter, and it was a funny response, right? I put it in a poll, and I get like some of us like it's easy to do because it's like white guy, black guy kind of thing, right? Like, but if he had Ryan Kerrigan's career, he'd be in the pride of the Jaguars.
Sign me up right now.
Hey, how did that poll end? Because when I voted yes, that would be good enough, it was getting mashed by no, that's not good enough. And I was like, do you people know who Ryan Kerrigan is?
It was like 72 to 28. Yes.
Okay, so
yeah,
I must have looked early.
Yeah, more people said yes. A lot more people said yes, but still, it kind of baffled me that almost 30% of people said no, because I was like, wow, we're on totally different wavelengths, you and me, people. Like
30% of people were okay with Trent Baalke. There's always like contrarian dummies.
That's true. That's fair. That's a fair
like,
point.
I'm contrarian to laugh at, like, and just fucking poke fun. People are legit like, oh, that many people think it can't be right.
Yeah. So I look at it and I'm like, and I think part of that too is I feel as if obviously we missed out on Kerrigan the first time we took Blaine Gabbert. But like I see that and I say, wow, if he is that type of player, which I'm not smart enough to know to compare them. I haven't watched enough of Hutchinson. Yeah. And even if I had, I'm not smart enough to necessarily make those comparisons one way or the other. But I see big, strong, strapping white dude who had some production at a Big 12 school or a Big 10 school. And I automatically think like, oh, maybe he's Ryan Kerrigan. So
he's the dude he was on the Raiders this past year, and he was on the Browns before that. Maybe on the Bucks before that.
Oh, you said Raiders initially. I was like, Max Crosby, I'll take it.
No, he's a good player. The other one, Carl Nassib. Yeah.
Carl Nassib.
That's gonna be Hutch when we draft him.
Well, it'd still be a top 10 Jaguars defensive end of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
So
we'll be like 4-12, and he'll get like a strip sack, and everyone will love him. God, I can't wait. It's gonna be so awesome. Little campfire
celebration. Yeah. Hey, as this conversation goes on, Billy's really warming up to the guard at 1 overall. I can tell.
Bro, I'd rather take Malik Willis at 1 than take a guard.
Now we're talking.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that.
Quarterbacks, baby.
I don't mean that. Let's talk 33. Let's get back to 33. We ran away from 33. Linderbaum is who a lot of people really want at 33. It sounds like people would be very surprised if he goes in the first round, so it should be possible. You guys have opinions on him?
Well,
center out of Iowa, I believe.
Tell us first. I mean, I know you've dropped the nugget, and I don't know. Do you want to get into why he's dropping, or
I mean, besides the obvious, he had a pro day only, I believe, which is very recent, like maybe a week ago, 2 ago. Very obvious he's got short arms, they say, and if you're a center that's got a reach, maybe not the most ideal, but he was a bully at Iowa. So I guess he got hurt early in the season on an offensive play, got rolled up, lead blocking in the goal line. Never was on the injury report because you don't have to list any of that in college. But I guess it carried on through the season, and that was half the reason why he didn't work out. So between medicals and his short arms, that's why he's falling. And he's an interior offensive lineman, so it's not like he was going top 15, even if he was like green checks top to bottom. And that's a position of need for the Jaguars. I mean, a lot of people are like, just like F the defense, let's go Icky and Linderbaum, which would be hilarious because they would just turn back into like the Maurice Jones-Drew teams that won 7 games a year because the quarterback was bad and they just ran the whole time.
I'm in.
I would take that O-line though.
You guys didn't even like bat an eye at Trevor Lawrence being bad. Jesus Christ.
No, but like
well, because at this point to me it's a coin flip. So I mean,
but the point is, I would take that O-line right now though, because if you had that O-line with a quarterback who figured it out.
Yeah, but that's the thing too. So now Trevor's got 15 seconds up there to guys who can't get open.
But they can run the ball and they'll be in favorable down and distance. And
yeah, and that's true too.
Then
I mean, you're right. So, but Linderbaum and then Quay Walker, the really athletic linebacker out of Georgia, who I mean, initially everyone assumed Nakobe Dean was going to be the linebacker that, everyone wanted, and there was no shot we could get Nakobe Dean at 33. Well, Nakobe Dean gets like one top 30 invite, I think. And Cap's been anti Nakobe Dean the whole time. So you can touch on Nakobe if you want. There's no way the Jags draft him at 33, in my opinion. So we don't need to. But Quay and Linderbaum, I think if those two guys are there, they have a decision. If only one of them's there, they'll pull the trigger on it. No receiver talk at 33, which I think is interesting. And only one receiver came in, John Mechie, who is probably 65, 70, maybe even later, 100. I don't know. He's a guy with a ACL. He has a lot of drops. I personally
spoiling
don't
my
really
mock.
want him. Oh, my fault. You have him in your mock?
No, keep going. You're just spoiling my mock. That's all right.
You're spoiling real life. Sorry, dude.
I want to touch on the wide receiver thing because it makes me very sad. Because
Wait, at 33.
Before you do that,
Yeah.
Chipotle put out a tweet this week that said somebody asked him what the likelihood is of us trading 33 to move up back into the first round. And he said it's more likely it would trade it to move back.
I could 100. Yeah, I don't think we're going to trade up at all. I think that there's.
But what about moving back?
Yeah.
What about moving back though?
Yeah, I could see us moving back.
Yeah,
I
think if they were offered to move back, especially if say Quay and Linderbaum are gone, and they really like Scene too, the safety from Georgia. He's probably not going to be there either because he'll probably be the second safety off the board. Some think he'll be the first. I'm sure it'll be Kyle Hamilton. That would be crazy if it wasn't. So assuming he goes first round and say the other two go first round, they would love to move back. And at that point, you should be able to find a trade partner. So like to not think that's realistic is crazy.
If Scene goes first round, Linderbaum goes first round, a guy like Quay Walker goes first round, I think in that case, the interesting scenario that potentially presents itself to the Jaguars is that probably means not as many wide receivers as people are thinking.
Your receivers are starting to fall.
So but what I was about to say before, Solley kind of asked that question was, I have zero, like if there's any position on a football field that's ever been played in the history of the NFL, in the history of football, I have such little faith in the two gentlemen making the call on these picks and Doug Peterson and Trent Baalke and their track record in evaluating wide receivers cumulatively, both of them. I like that. I'm not shocked to hear that there's no one that they even would consider potentially at the top of the second round, even though there's guys that I think if they fall, we'd be crazy not to take them at 33.
I do think though that is something that hasn't been talked about at all. I think that would be a realistic option. Now, I'm not saying it's Trey Burks if he falls, because he's not necessarily what you're looking for too. And what they're saying with him is he was told specifically go play in the slot and do this. Justice Mosqueda, also friend of the pod, he went on the Acme Packers SB Nation podcast and was saying that. So when you hear that too, and kind of back, it's right back to what you're saying.
Yeah, I think there's a real scenario where if they're not comfortable with the two or three guys that maybe are considered top 40 prospects consensus wise, right? You talk to all the people, see all the mocks. So say two or three of those guys at wide receiver fall because the Linderbaums, who we're hoping maybe falls, the Quay Walkers, the Scenes, cats like that, they're in the first round. So those receivers fall. There's not a lot else there, in my opinion, value wise, that I love at 33 that I don't think you couldn't get at 45 or 40. So that's where I sit there and I say, if it were me, and again, I don't know shit, but just based off of all the things I've looked at and the players that I've looked at, I would love to get, if you could turn around and get me another third by dropping back 6, 8 spots, 10 spots.
Yes, please.
All day,
100%.
Because I think there's some really good interior O-line prospects that are going to go in that top 3-4 rounds.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be some receivers. I think there's going to be a couple of tight ends that I really like that go in that 3rd round, 4th round area.
They really like that Kohler cat, I heard. What's
Kohler
his name? I tweeted his name. I forget it.
from where? Where's he from?
I don't know.
Kohler,
Yeah, I'd have to look. No, and yeah, I guess I haven't really thought about, you know, the top receivers, the list of the top receivers falling, but I think the value in the draft from 33 to 100, you can really like hit the ball out of the park. Whereas like at 1, we're probably picking a guy who's like 17, 18 over, you know what I mean? Like in a traditional year, like someone who's really far down the list. I don't know. Do you guys have like, I think let's talk about it. Receivers. So do you guys think they hit a receiver? Well, we can ignore Solley because he has his mock, but if they don't go receiver at 33, would you prefer them to pick one at 65 or 70?
Yeah, so there's guys in this draft. I really like Jameson Williams, obviously. Who doesn't, right? Like to the point where if they were able to trade back from 1, I'd be comfortable taking him anywhere. Like even with the ACL and all that shit, I'd be comfortable taking him anywhere in the top 10.
If they took him at 1, I would be comfortable.
Yeah, frankly. But I also think there's some guys that I find really, really intriguing. That, in my opinion, what they have to draft in this draft, if they're going receiver, are guys who are going to win on the outside.
Yeah,
I think they've got enough dudes who can rotate through the slot between Kirk and even Marvin Jones, the ghost of Laviska Shenault, like. Basically the guys on this route, they don't have guys that can line up and win on the outside necessarily. Just beat dudes downfield, deep routes. And I think there's some guys that are really good. I'll run them off real quick, kind of who my crushes are. I love Christian Watson. I think he's gonna go in the first round. He's kind of that guy that if he doesn't, and he's there at 33 and they don't take a flyer on him, that's probably one of the decisions they can make in the draft that'll actually piss me off.
God, I think he's terrible. He's going to be god awful. I legitimately think he's going to be fucking awful. I don't understand I think he's going to be terrible, not only because he plays at that shitty ass school, but because he literally drops the ball all the time. And dude, I think he's going to be terrible.
I don't know. I watched a bunch on him. And I can tell you,
you hit so good on like safeties and receivers. I'm shocked that you
any drops. A lot of the drops that I saw in the cut ups that I watched were shit that reminded me of Jamar Chase, a dude who was just trying to make a fucking play, and it was a concentration thing. It wasn't necessarily he had bad hands. So that's what I saw when I watched him. Dude, the guy.
I was shocked to hear that name.
Same. I can't believe you said I'm cool with it. It's interesting that you're so pro.
I'm telling you, I really, really like him. I don't think I think there's no chance they're gonna pick him. So it's immaterial basically.
Yeah.
The guy who I really like in that 60 to 70 range is Alec Pierce.
Okay, interesting.
I like Alec Pierce from Cincinnati. If you're listening to this and you're listening to it or watching it tomorrow, go read up on him a little bit, watch some of his cut ups. Here's the thing with him. I think that he's a dude who, if he played for Alabama, if he played on Alabama's team, we'd be talking about him as a top 15 pick. Seriously, their offense.
I can see why you think that too.
Their offense in Cincinnati is your classic college offense where it's like, hey, whoever the guy, right? Like it's matchups. Okay, we got less on this side. I'm going to that guy, get the ball out.
Yeah, Ritter's looking one way and making it. Yeah.
And that's it. If you watch a lot of this stuff, there's a couple of videos out there, cut ups that you can watch of him. The dude is just running wide open. And they're just not throwing the fucking ball. Right. He's running wide open. And he's a freak. His size, like 6'3" and some change, ran a 4.3 in the fucking 40. Yeah. So I thought when I was watching his stuff, the dude can run routes. Like he has a significant route tree that he can run. Watch the Alabama game. If you can find a cut up of him in some of the plays in the Alabama game, Dilla, you remember that game? Obviously,
he's wrong, dude. He was crushing our receivers. Corners. He's running.
He was crushing them.
Got missed.
And he was running by people,
yeah.
and they were bracketing him.
Yeah.
They were bracketing him
because he's the only person who they were worried about, because what you said and why I can see why you're saying that he goes 15. He's 6'3", like you said, and he's a burner. He can win vertical routes, but he can run everything else. And I would say it's something, maybe his best route is the comeback.
Mm-hmm.
That little back shoulder, either the front or back shoulder or front shoulder. He wins that, and he's good after the catch too.
Yeah, he's a dude. So a lot of the dudes who you get like, and that's kind of what makes me like, am I right about this dude? Because a lot of the guys, when you turn on, you watch them play or you watch them in games, and they're the burners on the outside. They got size and they're burners. They don't catch with their hands, right? It's everything if it's coming down, they're trying to catch it like this.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of routes that he's running where he is coming back to the ball and he's high pointing and he's catching it. I think he's a stud. A guy who I haven't watched a ton, just because I don't think there's a ton out there necessarily, but Jalen Tolbert, he intrigues me because I think he is like an X. So it's guys like that. The rest of the guys I think I think there's a legitimate 3 or 4 that are going first round. I think when it's said and done, if you told me that Alec Pierce gets in the right system with the right quarterback and the right team, and you told me that 5 years from now, he is a better player than the guys from Ohio State, I wouldn't bat an eye, just because I think he has that type of physical ability. So, and again, getting back to my original point with these guys, Jahan Dotson, some of these smaller guys that profile I feel like I don't know where they fit. I feel like we've got guys like some of them.
Dotson can play outside too. He can. Well, he lined up outside like 1,000 snaps and in the slot 200. Like, he's an outside receiver.
He is, but just the profile, he's more Allen Robinson than he is like a dude who's gonna.
Oh yeah.
Like, and so that's I want a guy. We have nobody on that offense unless the ghost of Travis Etienne comes back. Like, we don't have any burners. Like Kirk is. I mean, to be fair, Kirk's fast and he's quick. But
the only name I'm surprised you didn't say was Khalil Shakir. I think that dude's sick.
I like him. He's like, I don't know where he goes. Like, that's there's 5 or 6 of them that I'm hella interested to see. They could all go second round.
Yeah.
And some of them could go 4th round. Like, I don't know.
That's how I feel with Shakir too. And like when I do the mock drafts, I don't know if I want to pick him at like 65, 70 or 106. I just like genuinely, I'm like, he might be there because he's another one of those guys who his film's out of the slot. Most of it is, I think, like 80%. But when he lines up outside, he wins. Yeah, he wins a lot when he plays outside. So
I like him. He's on a list of like 5 or 6 guys that if they took him, I would be excited about him. Especially depending on where they got him. I think that's why I've.
If they draft him, I'll buy his jersey for you, custom.
Nice. Okay, sick.
Why not?
I'm in.
That's a win-win. That's a cap W.
You heard it here first on the Bold Take Pod. But that's like to finish up and go back to kind of your original point. If they trade back from 33, if that does indeed happen, which again, probably not very likely, but if they did, it's guys like Shakir, Pierce. I like what's the center out of Nebraska. His name is
Cam Jurgens, because he's stroking.
I love it. Like, think about the fucking shirts we can make if that guy's good, even if he's bad, whatever.
Bro, imagine just the bottle with his like him pancaking someone on just like a Jurgens bottle.
100%. I'm in. I'm fully in for it. That's why I want Icky. Like the fucking the fucking. You talk about marketability. I'm in,
bro. Just think of all the like Bud shirts you can sell with like sticky Icky faces.
Sticky Icky, bro. I mean, it would be fantastic. But no, I think there's just a ton of guys that I kind of have like draft crushes on, which means they probably all suck if we're being real with each other. But
they're probably gonna suck. Okay.
There's okay. There's a ton of guys that I feel like are gonna go in that like 55, 60 to like 110. And so if you could tell me I can get a couple of picks in that range by moving back, I'd be all about it. The other guy, before we get into the Solley mock draft, the official 2022 version of the Solley mock draft, there's a couple guys, and Dill, I don't know if you have a few that you want to shout out like that are sort of your draft crushes. Another guy similar to Alec Pierce, just didn't get used a lot. I really like that. There's a handful of tight ends that I really like. Everybody loves Trey McBride. Everybody loves him. I think he's gonna be a good player. I think he's gonna go too early for where we would take him. Jeremy Ruckert.
I mocked him to the Jags in the 4th round today.
Dude, watch him.
He's a blocker, bro. He's a bully.
He's a bully, but he can run routes too, bro.
Oh, yeah, no, he's got value on both
ability.
sides. Yeah.
I think he's gonna be a really big surprise. He's a dude where they didn't ask him to do too much on the receiving end, but I think just you look at his measurables, you look at his abilities, you look at when he was in the game, like, and he's handsome as fuck. Look at that. Holy
that's
cow.
Charlie Kohler. That's the guy I was telling you about from the Iowa State Cyclones.
Charlie Kohler. So I like Ruckert. I think he's intriguing because let's be real. Like if you're getting some of these guys like 3rd, 4th round, 5th round, like you want to swing for the fences. And if there's a guy who he's a cat who, if he would have went to a school who featured the tight end more, like he maybe would have, we're talking about him. He's got the measurables and the athletic ability that we're talking about him going much earlier. But
tight ends like fullback, that shit's dying. They don't use it in college. Like a couple of schools use an H-back, but that's about it.
Yep.
But two, while we're talking about tight ends, and no one really cares about tight ends, but if they draft a tight end, it's gonna have to be a guy who blocks in line, because you have Evan Ingram and you have Dan Arnold, and those are your 2 best tight ends. So now you got Chris Monhertz and Farrell from Ohio State also. You're not protecting a roster spot for either of those guys, but those are the 2 guys that if we brought a rookie in, one of them would go.
Which is honestly what makes me think that, like, even though there's 3 or 4 that I would love for them to add in the middle rounds, I don't think there's any chance they draft one.
I think it would be a wasted pick, because I don't think they would make the team. And if they make the team, they're not going to play unless like the other guys get hurt. Or maybe you value Evan Ingram as a slot receiver because that's where he plays over 50% of the time in the slot. Yeah.
I mean, he's as much of a tight end as
any of them, because they're all trash. You're right. But,
anyway, you're right in the context of I doubt they even go that direction, but it's fun to dream about having a good tight end one day.
There is no tight end in the official Solley mock.
There you go, folks.
There it is.
Go. The definitive answer has been given. I really like Brian Asamoah.
Speak on it. I told people that was your guy, and they laughed.
It is. They laughed.
They did. They laughed.
I think he is everything that people with their SEC bias think Nakobe Dean is.
Wow.
Undersized a little bit, flies around,
Yep.
smart. Like he was a big part of the brains behind that defense. Whereas if you ask most people in Georgia, I feel like what's come out lately is it's been seen was really kind of the guy who lined people up and did that shit in Georgia.
Yep.
I just think the dude's tenacious. I think he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and he's 10 years ago, he may not even get a shot in the NFL because he's undersized.
Yep.
But you look at him and I think he has the skill set that when I watch him, I see some of these slightly undersized, I'm not saying that he is Levante David, but like there's elements of Levante David in his game. And he's like, watch him. He's hella fun to watch. And again, in the right scheme, which I think, you talk about, we do have Mike Caldwell here.
Yeah. We're like the most multiple defense out there.
Right. And the Levante Davids of the world, and not what's the other dude? Is it Devin Harris? Devin Harris, right?
Devin Bush.
No, for the Bucks.
I don't remember his name. Bush plays for the Steelers.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's Devin Harris, isn't it? Went top like 5, top 10 to them.
No, it's Devin something though.
Yeah. Anyway, like I think he's
Hey
he's
Siri, what's the linebacker from the Bucks named Devin? Oh shit.
Devin White. Devin White. Yeah, Devin White. Shout out to our producer pal Carlito.
Devin White, linebacker, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
With the 5th overall pick, the Tampa
He
Bay
says Devin
Buccaneers.
Harris, and I was thinking about the basketball player that played for the Mavericks out of Wisconsin.
That wasn't Devin Harris though.
Yeah,
Was it?
Devin Harris?
Was it Devin?
Yeah.
Ask Siri, Dilla. I know exactly who you're talking about though. He's really asking Siri.
The Dallas Mavericks. Yeah, why'd you try? Solley has a fucking picture of his NBA poster, and he's celebrating behind it. He's the NBA corner of the.
Oh yeah, he is in that poster. You're right.
Yeah, he's literally right there.
Who is Devin Harris's?
I have a poster of. I went to Dallas and went to a Mavs game.
Okay.
Like the week after Dirk scored 30,000 points, and they were giving away
right next to it.
They were giving away these posters of Dirk like making a fadeaway, and it says 30,000. And Devin Harris is right next.
He's on it, yeah.
I'm almost positive that he was drafted by the Nets, though. Is that correct? Does that sound right?
I don't
Who
know
was
if he was
Devin Harris
drafted by the
drafted
Nets,
by?
but he's definitely. I think he might have played for the Nets.
Washington Wizards in the 5th pick of the first round, 2004.
Wow, there you go. Maybe he got traded. Maybe he was a draft night
Yeah,
pick.
I think.
That's probably what it was.
Anyway, this has really gone off the fucking rails here.
Can we start an NBA podcast?
This is Trent Baalke's fault, you guys.
This is all fireballky. Shout out to the people with the clown emoji still. Like those
Honestly,
are like
for real. You guys are real. and you're
Especially
right.
Justin Wendell.
get yourself, ladies, if you're out there and you're looking for a man who's committed, get yourself a dude who's still got a clown emoji for his for his avatar.
Our boy Justin Wendell was like, everybody was changing their Avies back, and he was like, "No, I'm fucking leaving this shit. This guy deserves this shit."
Love it. Looking forward to seeing our boy Wendy. If I had to guess, is he in town yet?
I don't know.
If he's cruising down tomorrow, he'll be listening to this podcast while he's cruising. So if that's the case, Wendy, what's up? We can't wait to see you, and I love you. All right, Dilla, any draft crushes now that you shat all over my Christian Watson take?
Honestly, no. I've never been less interested in the draft before.
Interesting.
The only reason I have to pay attention is because people talk to me about it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. That makes sense. Oh, that makes sense too. Wow, that's wild. And then I don't know. It's not also, but it's honestly like more fun just talking to the people who know stuff than it is to even care about what the Jaguars are doing, because they're going to ruin it. And it's not going to be fun. And every time I like get emotionally invested in the team, they fuck me over, and I'm sick of it. That's real.
Tell them how you really feel. I
dropped season tickets and I feel great about it. I haven't regretted it once. Solley hasn't either, because I asked him on the golf course the other day.
Big golfers.
I'm spending all my money on golf, all my season ticket money on golf. So
Yeah, I saw a video the other day. You might want to spend some more.
What about mine? How did mine look?
Yours always looks good, bro. You're like the ginger John Daly. Like
I'll take it. I was mashing the ball on Saturday, but anyway, back to football.
My God. Bombs, freaking bombs.
Love it. Just putting all that inside fucking info right behind that golf ball and smashing it. Yeah, it's the fun thing I feel like about this draft. It kind of sucks to have the first overall pick and not have a big, like a consensus stud that we're all excited about. But I think there's some interesting depth in the draft in positions where we might be shopping. So that could be cool.
And I was like super negative there about the Jags, but I honestly think that the Jaguars already like made their best addition to the team in terms of like addition by subtraction and the new addition, and that's at the head coaching department. So I'm actually pretty pumped about having Peterson around. I think like even if they don't win Super Bowls or anything, they're going to be better than they've been in a long time. And I think it was kind of funny, like listening to Shaq talk today about how refreshing it was to have a coach who's like played football before and like understands what's going on and like how it actually felt like they were at football again. And like to hear that after hearing all that shit, like no wonder they didn't give a fuck. Like how can you blame them?
Yeah.
How can you blame me?
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, so
some people out there in the internet land, I see it regularly when I tune into Twitter. They do blame you, but not me.
For a lot.
especially
not
on
me.
especially on Reddit.
Yeah.
Oh, are they talking about you on Reddit again?
I have no idea. I haven't been on Reddit in ages.
Interesting.
We have a very recent customer review for our partner, A1 Sliders, where you can get a free estimate at a1sliders.com. Call them 387-538-6835. Our very own Mr. 10,000, the Dillical.
So I go over to my sister's house today. She's putting her house on the market on Friday, and I notice I don't hear anything. And I realized she got her sliding glass door fixed. So shout out to the guys at A1 Sliders for rolling through and taking care of that.
Guaranteed she's going to get an extra 10% when she sells her house because she's got a badass sliding glass door.
Facts.
Guaranteed.
Hey, quiet. That's what her sliding glass door sounds like right now.
That was smooth.
Boom.
That was smooth.
Again, the website a1sliders.com. They do work from New Smyrna Beach up to Jacksonville, and they will give you a free estimate if your sliding glass door sucks like Dillard's sisters used to.
What's the number?
386-538-6835.
Boom. A1 Sliders. Solley, my friend, it is that time.
I just want
the final countdown.
It is the time. And everyone, let me apologize right now because I know what people are thinking. They tuned in this podcast and they tuned in for one reason, and they had to fast forward all the way to this point to finally get to it. But this is the third annual edition of the Solley mock draft.
I gotta say, I'm really flattered that we saved this for the end.
Well, of
Like,
course.
normally we save like Dillard dropping nuggets for the end, and like, you know, all you guys actually talking real football for the end. And now it's like, okay, we're saving for the jokes for the end this time.
No jokes. What are you talking about, buddy? The only joke is on the people who doubt the power and the accuracy of the Solley mock draft.
All right, so should we go through last year just for the people who don't know what we're talking about? We got a lot of new listeners this year. Should we just kind of go through what happened last year?
You want to peacock a little bit? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I think we should, right?
This isn't a we thing. This is your segment. You do what you want.
Team effort. It's a team effort. I couldn't do it without you guys. To be real, a lot of the info that I get that I use to kind of formulate this obviously comes from Dillard, right? He's always sharing in the text, you know, what's kind of going on. So I have a little bit of an educated guess when I'm doing this, and this point has been accentuated tonight so far. I also love to listen to your opinions on prospects, Cap, because you're very logical and you do a good job looking at and picking out crushes. And I think your crushes are usually pretty decent. And I then know if I'm Trent Baalke, I'm doing the complete opposite of being logical and finding good draft crushes, right? So I know, like, when you were laying down all your crushes just now, none of them were on my mock. I was like, yep, I've got something right here. I'm cooking here.
I mean, it's impeccable logic, and I definitely appreciate the faith and the positive words sent my direction. So without further ado,
I will say, so last year we all knew Trevor was going one. That wasn't you don't get any credit for that. I had mocked ETN at 25. We had the first rounder, and I thought that it was either going to be ETN or Tony. And we found out later that obviously Tony went 20th, I think, and we had picked 25. We found out later that it turns out the Jags actually preferred Tony, right? They really wanted Kadarius Toney.
Yep.
And then they had to settle for ETN at 25, right? I did have some tight ends, which didn't a little higher than they actually went. So it's kind of a miss. Did get the position right, but kind of a miss there. Had I think I specifically said Brevin Jordan at 45 because his testing was bad. So that was a miss there.
We all have them. We all have them. Even Mel Kiper.
All the way to the third
Mel
round.
Kiper's never missed. That's why he's still on TV.
Maybe one offensive lineman I said who will suck. Yet to be determined, but I think I got the number of offensive linemen right.
We all called Walker Little runner big.
Yeah. Yep. And then the rest is just kind of filling in positions. So I kind of have a similar outlook this year where I've got not too many specific names, but I'll give you positions and I'll give you kind of a general this is what the whole thing is going to kind of shape out like without giving you specific names.
Hold on. I have to pause you for a second because for a guy who nailed both first round picks and then multiple other picks last year, this is a very subdued lead in. Like I need a little more peacock. I need a little more pizzazz.
It speaks for itself, Cap. I mean, I don't really have to do too much. I mean, the work speaks for itself.
That's fair.
Before we get into a little personal plug, I want to give you my number one overall prospect, and that's George Karlaftis. I think I said that right. Chipotle does their little, we sponsor the NFL draft, and this is what prospects get in their burrito bowl, right? And this motherfucker has triple steak, double white rice, and light cheese as his bowl. That's it. That is the most psychopathic thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And that's exactly what I want out of a fucking edge rusher. So he's number one on my I don't know where he's really.
Are you mocking him one overall?
No. He's number one on my personal board. There's no way we're gonna take him. Trent Baalke would be absolutely intimidated to speak to this guy. And I think Trent Baalke's a bit of a psychopath. So but that's exactly what you want out of an edge rusher. He's probably going to go, I think you said this before, Cap, he's going to go to the Steelers. He's probably going to average 15 sacks a year. You can book it. But my official mock, okay, we have number one overall pick again.
Yep.
We heard a little rumor about a week ago about something that may have happened with a specific prospect after hours. May not be public information. I'm not really going to go into it, but that solidified it for me that guy was going to be our pick, and that is Trayvon Walker. We're definitely taking Trayvon Walker number one.
Big time.
I think all the information that we've got too from the Dilla and others that, the little power struggle between, Shad wants Aiden Hutchinson and Doug wants the offensive lineman and Trent Baalke wants Trayvon Walker. Well, guess who's going to win? Trent Baalke. We didn't keep Trent Baalke to not take his picks.
Guy's a winner.
I agree.
100%. It's locked in. Trayvon Walker is your number one overall pick.
Team Trent.
Nobody wants to say that. I'll go ahead and say it. 33. I got a feeling we're trading back, fellas. I don't think we're taking anybody at 33. I think those guys that they like are going to be gone. And I think they're going to trade back. And what they're going to take, they may go to like 40, 50 range. I think they're going to take a white linebacker. So I think it's going to be 2 defensive picks. There's several white linebackers kind of in the 50 to 70 range. I think one of those guys is definitely going to be it.
Chad Muma.
Yeah, one of these type of guys. So definitely trade back from 33, get a white linebacker.
But not Leo Chanel or whatever. If we get that kid out of Wisconsin, I'm a Titans fan.
Could be him.
I will literally be done. If they draft him, I'm out.
Could be him. Luckily for you, there's like 2 or 3 other ones. So I'm not telling you which one it is. I'm just letting you know it's a white linebacker somewhere in the 40s or 50s.
Do we can we expand upon why it's a white linebacker? Do we have to meet our quota?
It's a Trent Baalke thing for me. I don't know. I just know it seems like a Trent Baalke thing. That's all. That's all I really got for you.
How many white linebackers did we have last year? He literally traded the white linebacker the second he got a shot. Sent his ass packing, and then he cut Miles, and then they signed Miles, and then they cut Schobert. That's so funny, man.
I think he's missing it.
Fair enough. Might be.
Next up, I think we've got a running back in the top 70. I think we're going to take a running back before
James
we
Cook.
take. I think we're going to take a running back before we take a receiver. I don't know the prospects very well this year. I literally don't go on Twitter at all anymore.
Dalvin Cook's brother or someone that's not Dalvin Cook's brother.
Yeah, so I think a running back is going top 70 and going before a receiver.
Hey, I got a question for you. Oh,
Okay.
what's up?
No, go ahead.
Does the running back that we pick in the 70s or to 100, whatever, is that running back more productive this year than James Robinson and ETN combined?
I could see it. I'm not projecting production here. I'm projecting the draft, but I could see it. Yeah,
Fair enough.
I feel like James Cook is the one guy in that 35 to 70 range that if they took him, I would be like, damn, they really took him. Not because I think he's a bad player. I think he's actually going to be a really good player.
Yeah.
Because what it would mean about the guys they already have. Because to me, if you take ETN last year in the fucking first round,
Yeah.
and then now you're drafting, because I think Cook's going to go and he may go second round. Like I
He
think
could,
he's gonna,
yeah, definitely.
He's going to go like top 3 rounds. So if they did take him, I'd be like, holy shit, they just took a guy who's going to play a role where Urban and everybody thought ETN would play.
this is
He's probably going to play it better.
This is exactly what.
And holy shit, that was a complete wasted pick.
The feeling that you're getting right now is exactly what I think they're going to do.
But here's my thing with James Cook. He's actually a running back that can play receiver, unlike ETN.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it was a completely wasted pick last year by taking.
Oh, for sure.
ETN.
But see, that's another thing too. Trent Baalke has the luxury of passing it off to Urban Meyer. He has a whole year of picks.
Solley Mock is doing it again, Cap. You see this right here?
Besides Trevor Lawrence.
Have you guys even mentioned the fucking running back yet? Boom. Fucking boom. Boom.
Sure,
That's all I
man.
gotta say. I already won the mock before it's even the draft is even here. So next pick is definitely going to be a wide receiver, but it's going to be either a slot or a guy with pretty bad injury history. So yeah, he's going to go for a slot or one of the kind of.
So he's gonna go for an injured slot.
Yeah,
Got you.
That type, either injured or slot or both.
He literally just said they're gonna pick John Mechie, who
Pretty
can play
much.
outside, but is definitely gonna be a slot receiver in the NFL.
I first I heard injured slut, and I was like, whoa, that's
Yeah, Cass's ankles broke, but chill, my guy.
No, that would be a Urban Meyer pick, and then
I was thinking more of like the type of significant other that Medlin usually goes after, but like you went Solley's wife, like that's next level.
But I defended his wife in the process, so like you see how that like worked.
I don't know. I'll let her decide on that one.
That's fair. If I gotta avoid the house for a month, that's cool. Draft parties at Caps, not Solley's.
I do have a specific name next up here, and it's a tackle. And I'll be honest, I was kind of scrolling during this episode because I knew I needed a tackle. So I was just kind of seeing what was out there. But when I saw this dude's name, I thought we're 100% taking him.
Wake Forest.
That's Daniel Falele.
Oh yeah, nope, I was wrong.
We're definitely taking Daniel Falele. He's an
Like what?
He's an offensive tackle out of Minnesota.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we taking him. What round do you have him going here?
Somewhere in like the 4th or 5th, probably.
Okay.
That sound
I
right?
don't miss, bro. He's gonna go in like day 3.
These like after the first 2 rounds, I'm not real sure about where exactly. I just kind of know position.
Hey, you're better than me. You just named a player I never heard of before, so you're killing it, my guy.
I'm almost done. I only have 2 more points. Okay, we're definitely gonna take, and this I don't really know where exactly, but we're definitely gonna take an edge that every draftnik hates. We're gonna take the edge, and they're all gonna be like, "That guy fucking sucks. Why would they take him? He's ass."
The best part, bar none, the best part of the Solley mock every year is not even the players that that you maybe hit on. The best part is the logic
Yeah,
behind
the way
why
he
we're
thinks
taking-
about it is fucking crazy because you can't say no to any of them.
Okay, and then my last point is there's going to be way more corners and safeties that we take than anybody is talking about. I think we're going to take like 3 or 4 secondary players. So that's all I got. That's the Solley mock 2022.
If they take 12 players, I could totally see him taking 2 or 3 guys in the secondary.
But that's the thing too. Like talking about a trade back from 33. Why they should also be fucking trading up with their 4s and 5s and 7s and 12s to just compress it all into that.
Yeah. If I'm them, I'm taking all my draft capital and I'm trying to get as many of those guys who are going to be in that 3rd or 4th round range.
Personally, I would take all those 6th round picks and 5th and 7th and all that extra bullshit and try to trade back up into the 1st round and take Carlaftis. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Why would you take him again?
Because he gets triple steak and double white rice with light cheese, and that's it on his burrito bowl. That is fucking psychopathic.
Can we also talk about how that's like that? You know, the meme on like Black Twitter about white people who don't put any spice on food. Like that's the fucking epitome.
It's the driest, like least seasoned.
Dude, I saw a meme today that was like the white people in England colonized everyone with spices so they could make this, and it was beans on toast. It's so true, man. Like what?
That's just good. Like we should make George Carlaftis we should make him a meme in the sense that like anytime somebody posts some shit that looks bland as fuck, just be like, oh my man Carlaftis this.
I don't know. I think me and Dillard might have to take a trip to Chipotle and get the Carlaftis bowl one of these days. Just for
let's do it.
LOLs.
I'm in.
How much does that cost? Like $40?
Triple steak? What? You got a fucking porterhouse on your fucking burrito?
No, what happens is you get up to the fucking cashier and she looks at the thing and then she yells back down the line, hey, triple steak? Did you get triple steak?
You know how they put the little like red or yellow like little triangle things? There's just like fucking, it's like a tower of them this tall. Oh, steak.
$48 later.
Yeah, seriously though.
I'm in to go do it though. But hey, if we do it, can I get a side? Can we all have one side? Like that we
I can't just eat that. Fuck.
Because
I could in there somewhere. I
could hit that if I had to, if you gave me some of the hot salsas, like
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It would be dry without.
So dry.
I need something.
Yeah, I gotta have the hot salsa. I can mess with that.
Well, Carlaftis is Greek, so I would even put like tzatziki on it just for shits and giggles.
Excuse me, ma'am. Yes, I'm the guy with the triple steak. Do you guys have any tzatziki sauce? That's what my man George recommended. He said I had to come to the Chipotle and get the tzatziki sauce.
Chipotle triple steak with tzatziki, double white rice.
Man, Dilla goes walking in. Triple steak, double white rice. I brought my own tzatziki. Thank you.
Can you please put this on for me?
I also want to know, like, how does light cheese with a triple helping of steak and a double helping of rice?
I don't know, but something too, even at Moe's and Chipotle, I get light black beans, and the only difference is they let the juice drain out, and I don't understand. I'm always like, you gave me this, it's a fucking full spoonful both ways. You just didn't do it quick. I don't know. Do it. Go next time and ask for light black beans or whatever beans, and I swear to you, they're just going to go and let it sit there and then pour it on. I'm like, that's the same thing.
So I always get double meat when I go to Chipotle.
Yeah,
okay,
like an adult should.
Right. But life hack for anybody who doesn't already know this, and I have total faith in the both of you already knowing this.
Tortillas.
But if you go, well, no, not even that. But if you just with the double meat, if you go and you tell them from the jump, oh, I'm gonna have double chicken or I'm gonna have double steak, they don't give you as much as if you they say what do you want, what protein you want? Oh, chicken, and you let them scoop it, and then you say, oh, I want double, please. And you get the actual double.
That's clutch. You're right.
You have
George
to do
Carlaftis does that with the triple steak.
He better be
hey,
like,
I want steak, No. Okay, can I actually do double scoop again? Actually, I need to make that triple.
Make that bitch a triple. Let's triple down. You know what? And I want to make this even more dry. Can you just make it double rice on top of that? Like, I don't know if you already put the rice down, but can you put some rice on top of my steak?
And just to plug up my esophagus fully, just throw a little cheese on there.
Just getting straight Carlaftis.
Fucking savage, man.
I love it. You're right, bro.
I've never felt more sure about a prospect before now.
The logic is impeccable. And the hilarious part of that is I know you know very little, if anything, about him actually as a prospect, and I really do think he's going to be pretty.
Oh, he's
good.
going to be so good, dude.
He may be better than all the guys that go before him.
Bro, if he played at Michigan and did the same thing he did at Purdue, where's he going in the draft?
To Chipotle.
Facts, to get triple steak and double white rice and fucking white cheese.
Some things go beyond the football field, and that Chipotle order goes beyond the football field. You can just tell that's a psychopath.
Oh my goodness. All right. So we've got our marching orders. We will be back with a episode recapping
in July or sometime.
Sometime between now and 2024. We will be back with another episode recapping the draft. And maybe even a special emergency Solley podcast if we if the predictions are as accurate as they have been in the past,
or if we somehow get George Carlaftis.
If we get George Carlaftis, then you're running the 40, not Dilla this time. If we get George Carlaftis, you're running the 40. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens, boys. Also looking forward to the sorry, Dilla just texted us in the middle of the podcast. Looking forward to getting to Chipotle and trying the Carlaftis bowl. You think if we walk, sorry to get derailed here again, but do you think if we walked in and just said, I'll have the Carlaftis, that they'll know what that is? Like, do you think all the people who work at Chipotle, like, do you think they've got like group text going on right now? Like, could you believe this fucking savage? Like this guy's order? Like,
I don't know, but I will say,
memos at Chipotle right now. Like,
if we go and do it, we definitely have to also ask the people working there if that's the craziest bowl they've ever made, or like what's the craziest shit they've ever made.
Yeah,
I bet they get some weird shit.
I kind of want to go and just like either Instagram live it or whatever, and like and like it's got to be Solley ordering it. Like, so Solley stepping up and like just to see it. You know those videos of people who went and like ordered the Travis Scott meal at like McDonald's when it first came out? Like, and the people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm the flyest in the room.
Yeah, can I get one Carlaftis bowl?
And then when they don't know, they look at you like you're fucking crazy. Just be like, what do you mean you don't know the Carlaftis bowl?
Pull up the Chipotle.
Yeah, pull up the Chipotle. Oh, they said if you don't know, I get it for free.
Can't wait to have to tip a Chipotle employee like 20 bucks and putting up with me.
Can we please do it?
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. I'll do it tomorrow for lunch.
I'm in. As long as only Solley has to eat the Carlaftis bowl.
So
anyway,
I don't know if all three of us could take it down, honestly.
Together?
Yeah,
I'll smash it. I'll get it tomorrow.
How much rice they give you?
I'm a beast, dude. I'm a machine.
Bro, give me a side of chips and I'll just make that into like steak nachos real quick. Yep. Light work, my guy. Light work. All right. Well, looking forward to seeing you boys on Thursday.
Can't wait. Can't wait to hang out. Don't really care about the draft.
We got to we'll talk to everyone soon, and we love all of you out there, but we especially love JB. I love you, JB. Until next time, pals.
Love you, JB.